Hello everyone, in this presentation I am going to talk about how regenerative tourism principles can be used to manage the workforce in the tourism and hospitality industry. So, according to the UNWTO, tourism is one of the fastest growing economic sectors. It actually provides one in every 10 jobs worldwide. But tourism also comes with a lot of negative impacts. On the screen, you can see a long list of issues like climate change, pollution, cultural erosions, etc. These negative impacts are often linked to something called over-tourism. Basically, over-tourism happens when a destination gets more visitors than it can handle. The more developed the tourism sector becomes, the more these negative effects can pile up, affecting both the environment and local communities. When COVID 19 hit, tourism was one of the hardest hit sectors. Many businesses was forced to close or they had to operate at a bare minimum. COVID 19 turned over tourism into under tourism, which means fewer tourists, huge revenue losses, and mass job cuts all across the industry. Let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah was a dedicated housekeeper who lost her job during the pandemic. Eventually, she found a new job in retail, and now she's not really keen on going back to hospitality, even though COVID is over. She's just one example of what happened to many workers during COVID. They were forced to leave or just left the sector to seek more secure employment. And then there's Rob. He's a human resource manager at a hotel, and he's really struggling to hire enough staff for the busy summer season ahead. Even though the pandemic is over, labor shortages are still a big problem in the hospitality industry. In Canada, the hospitality sectors relies a lot on temporary workers, including international students. Back in 2018, international students made up more than a quarter of the total hospitality workforce. At the time, there was just over half a million international students in Canada. In 2023, that number jumps to over 1 million. I couldn't find the exact stats on how many of them work in hospitality, but according to the UNWTO, hospitality is still one of the top choices for young job seekers because it's accessible and offers entry level positions. But new policies are coming into play that aim to cut down the number of international students coming to Canada. For example, the study permit capped in 2025 will be about 48,000 fewer than 2024. Plus, the introduction of provincial and territorial attestation letters makes it even harder for students to come to Canada. Since industry relies so much on these workers, this decline is a huge concern. With all these challenges, COVID 19, policy changes, labor shortages, it's clear that hospitality industry needs a fresh approach to workforce management. One promising idea is regenerative tourism. This concept actually goes beyond just minimizing negative impacts, like sustainable tourism does. Instead, it's about actively improving the environment and the community. It focuses on community engagement, social and economic resilience, and long term development. It's not just about preserving, it's about giving back and creating something positive for the community. To help you visualize this, think of regenerative tourism as a tree. Imagine deep roots representing community engagement. These roots keep the tree stable and strong. The trend symbolizes economics practices that support sustainable growth. And the branches and leaves, they are all about social well being and environmental enhancement. Just like a flourishing tree, regenerative tourism nurtures both the community and the people, helping them to grow stronger together. For me, it is such a beautiful concept. But how exactly can it help solve workforce issue in tourism and hospitality? When I reviewed into the literature, I found a few hints here and there. Some studies mentioned that fostering community involvement and using community driven practices could have built a more stable and local workforce. That way, businesses aren't as reliant on temporary external workers. A few papers also talk about creating better working conditions and making jobs more meaningful, which could attract more people to stay in the industry. But here's the problem: most of the existing research focuses on environmental and community benefits rather than directly looking into workforce management. There's also a big gap when it comes to actual data. We don't have enough quantitative studies that measure how regenerative tourism practices impact things like job retention, job satisfaction, or economic stability. A lot of the research so far is quite qualitative, mostly from community based projects, which shows some positive outcomes but doesn't give us the hard numbers we need. Moreover, future studies could investigate how regenerative tourism practices might change the perception of working conditions and career paths within the hospitality industry. This could potentially attract more qualified workers and improve employees' retention. Also, it's challenging to integrate regenerative tourism into existing human resource management practices because the two don't always align smoothly. To make it work, we really need more studies that bring those together. In my assignment, I made some recommendations for future research to address these gaps. I think it's important to figure out how regenerative tourism can actually improve workforce stability, especially in a place like Canada, where the hospitality sectors really needs innovative solutions. Exploring these ideas further could expand the current knowledge of regenerative tourism and help businesses develop practical strategies in workforce management. Thank you so much for listening. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and questions.